Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of us who are listening to me from around the globe. So I'm Ilan from India. So we have another presenter, Davi from Brazil, but he isn't able to attend this meeting. So I'll be presenting the entire presentation today. So I'm presenting my research, which is potentiality of plants that can aid for physiological and also psychological assistance or medications in a Martian habitat. So, swiftly going to my presentation, I would like to start with why Mars. So, Mars has been humanity's long-term quest for more than centuries now. So we often see Mars as the logical next step in human exploration in our solar system. So, and it is also linked with the similar resources and environment, which will help long-term sustenance of humanity on any other planet. Plus, it also helps us to answer the question, can life really arise around the solar system in any other planet, or whether Earth was just the lucky, wonderful planet? So, all these questions will be answered if we set foot on Mars, and that's why we are behind Mars for more than centuries now. But in this technological era of 21st century, I should say, we have never been this closer. So the logical step of going to Mars exploration to establish a permanent settlement requires lots of challenges. Starting from how we are going to feed the humans we are going to send there, or even if we are going to send AI, the next generation technologies over there, how will it be really sustained over there? And that's what is a major focal point. We have to concentrate on Mars exploration right now. Plus, my personal belief is that Mars will inspire us to make Earth a better place. And that's one of the major goals of space exploration as well. How can we link Earth and space and make both places better for humanity? So it's not a very um, menial job, because there are challenges faced while we are going to settle on entirely another planet, starting from everything which humans are sustaining here on: food, water, the air we breathe, and also how we are going to create everything from scratch on a completely different environment or here another planet. So it's practically impossible to take all the resources sufficient to generate everything when we go and have a long-term settlement on another planet. So we have to become self-sufficient on another planet, and to also promote sustainable living and sustainable agriculture if you want to create food on another planet. And we are struggling to do that here on Earth. So this is like a loop. We are looking on a sustainable development on another planet, linking it to Earth. So I see it working both ways, and a win-win situation if we win this inclusivity of research. So astronauts will face this challenge of producing every resources which humans sustain here on Earth on another planet. Plus, Earth is the only planet which have developed very cozy environment for the humans who are living. Mars is not that generous. It doesn't have an atmosphere, which means the atmosphere is bombarded with the cosmic galactic cosmic rays and solar energetic particles, and the radiation is really very high over there. And the lack of atmosphere also tends to lower temperature, that is minus 60 degrees Celsius, and the atmosphere is majorly composed of carbon dioxide. So all these facts about Mars we have already been known about, but here we are going to talk about what the food sources, that is the major food source would be, rather than the food frozen food which we dehydrated or frozen food which we take from here. Some type of long-term settlement, we have to grow our own food on Mars. So how will we do that? We will definitely have lots of growth challenges for plants on Mars. It's not just for humans, it's directly proportional to other biological entities as well. So plants here on Earth are adapted to the condition which is present for billions of years. But when we are introduced these accustomed planets to another planet, there will be lots of changes going on over there in the phylogenetic level of the plants. So starting from the soil, that is the regolith of Mars, is basically dust, and it also contains toxins like calcium perchlorate, and the pH is very high, that is nearly up to 9.5. Plants have been very adapted to the soil of Earth, which has lots of nutrients. It has readily available liquid water, except from the arid or semi-arid regions. And that is why we have to artificially create these conditions while we are going to another planet. But how will we do that? And will all the plants be accustomed, even if we create an artificial environment over there on another planet? Yeah, before going to that question, let's see how we will develop a growth system for food production on another planet. So it starts from the bioregenerative life support system, which itself is an entire dome of a recycling system, which will create from scratch for everything how a plant can be grown. But there are few methodologies which we have to concentrate on. As we were discussing in the past slide, it is a completely entire different environment. Starting from light, we can either use the natural light or use the light emitting diodes, that is artificial light LEDs. And we have to take care of the temperature variations and the CO2 generations, which can be obtained from the crew respiration, or it can be collected from the EVA, that is extravehicular activities, and water generation, which is very important for plant growth, which can be used from the recycled water or from thawing the polar ice, which is present on Mars. And also soil is a medium for growth for plants, though we have different techniques like aeroponics and aquaponics. Some plants do require amount of nutrient supply, and that is why soil generation is also important. So these are some of the general requirements of plant, but they would differ from Earth and in space, like what we see on our screen. So on Earth, plants are grown in environment where the environmental stimuli are already present, but in space we have to concentrate additionally on gravity, radiation shielding, and also the air composition and everything for an efficient plant growth. So these are some of my sketches of a greenhouse which will be developed on a Martian habitat, which is 3-story. So the first story consists of the astronauts staying and researching. So the top floor dedicated for the plant growth. So there would be a maintenance system inside this greenhouse or in the Martian habitat, and it consists of all the systems what we see over here. But as we discussed in the past slide, does all the plants qualify for this kind of a different environment when we go to another planet, especially for food production? So that is where we are concentrating on a criteria for the selection of potential candidates to take into another planet, that is Mars, which is a very important matter. So according the factors which we saw in the past slide, how different and harsh is another, is another planet, that is Mars, we have to select the plants according to some of the fundamental aspects. Like it all depends on their adaptability, how quickly they are able to adapt. For example, plant size, light requirements, their harvest index, their nutritional value. But when we are talking about going to another planet, which itself takes 2 years to transfer resources from Earth to Mars. So even though some plants are able to adapt quickly to those environment, is it enough? I would say no. So we have to think in a multi-purpose way, and that is where plants which can aid not only in basic nutrition, but also in health promotion, in disease prevention, and also psychological health can be a win-win situation, that is a multi-purpose use, which can be really used very well when we are taking plants as a food source for a Martian habitat. So what are those plants? That is what we are going to see about here. That is the general ideas about indigenous plants. So what are indigenous plants is that plants which are accustomed to extreme conditions here on Earth, which tend to be very nutritious, sometimes more nutritious than any hybrid plants or more popular plants. And these plants are able to grow in extremely difficult conditions, like where there is soil which is very acidic or alkaline in their nature. their pH is very high, just like the pH which we saw on Mars, the extreme climate, just like we saw on Mars. So these plants have already been accustomed to some kind of environment which is kind of similar to what we may face in when we settle on Mars. And also, if one plant is not able to grow, there are thousands of other indigenous plants which will help us, because they come in very different types of varieties. They survive longer. They don't need much of rearing or nurturing by astronauts. It really reduces the work schedule, and they become disease resistant once they are adapted to extreme condition. So apart from being all these capabilities, there are also medicinal purposes of some indigenous plants. So here on Earth, there are cultures which have been growing indigenous plants for thousands of years for medicinal properties, and they are also used for natural healing, creating medicine, and also as a food source. So all in one, indigenous plants can help us as a great food source. So I could like to give an example of an indigenous crop variety, which is Nigella sativa. So colloquially called black cumin. This is a caraway seeds, and it is also a small plant which grows above 50 centimeter, which is used as a herbal medicine. And sometimes it's also grown as ornamental plant, which can be a very useful property when it is grown as a psychological plant on a habitat. It has properties of antimicrobial, antiparasitic, antifungal, and apart from all this, it have demonstrated tumor suppression. And black cumin, which we see in this image, has also been proven effective against diabetes and hypertension. And it also has the property of anti-inflammatory. So apart from all these medicinal properties, aiding as a food source, also as an ornamental or psychological aid, it does have pharmacological properties, like consisting of quinine compounds. So Nigella sativa is just one example of thousands of plants which are adapted to extreme environments here on Earth. So that is why taking indigenous medicines and medicinal plants in space applications can be a really good novel approach, and this is my proposal. So the place where I come from, India, we use the system called as Siddha and Ayurveda. So this is nothing but what we're seeing in this picture, where we create medicine from the plants available in the nature, either in their raw natural form or in their altered form. So this kind of following traditional or indigenous method, it improves our overall health, and it doesn't just help help when we take these plants to space applications, but it will improve life manifold if these practices are established wide here on Earth. So as I told, sustainable way is important for both Earth and any other planet which humans set on. So to become a multiplanetary species, let's start from Earth, and also let's bridge the Earth-based solutions to space as well. And also let's integrate the food and medicine so we'll all stay healthier and a long-lasting life in a very good way. And as we were discussing this point again and again, let's make the multi-purpose use as a main focal point, because we don't need any waste of resources here on Earth or on any other planet we go. With that, I would love to end my presentation. So this is a contact info if we want to have an extended conversation with this. With that, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you all for listening to me, and I'm open to any questions.
Can I ask a question? Yeah, thank you. It's a really, really interesting talk. I wonder whether, do you think there's prospects in the future for finding the genes in these plants that produce these different chemicals and putting them into, say, microbial bioreactors to scale them up, as well as producing them in naturally growing plants?
Yes, Professor, definitely. I missed that point, but that's the main motive, to identify what genes contribute to the extreme, behavior, that how they were adapted to, extreme environments. Also, they aid in lots of other properties. So identifying these genes and making use of those genes in other plants or other technologies is one of the goal of my research too.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.